Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, it's pure corruption. Let's get to it. The Corrupted is the only current strike in the Dreaming City, and it is one of the objectives for one of the purification rituals. So purification ritual can be do the corrupted strike while ascendant. You can do the unstable light in the blind well while ascended. You can kill sword wielding knights in the ascendant plane or during the ascendant challenge, and wearing the full reverie gear and do the shattered throne. So the Corrupted is a strike. It's just a normal strike. But if you have the Pursuit, the Purification Ritual for the Corrupted while Ascendant, do make sure that you are using the Tincture of Queen's Foil to finish that bounty. Now it is also in the strike playlist, so it is possible to get this one as a random strike. Now, a lot of these areas that you go through, you can run through. I'll try to make note of all the areas that you do have to fight through. Some of the areas are a little bit easier than others to get through by running, and some of them are a little bit more difficult. As long as you can avoid the blast, this area, you can run through it, which is true with most of the areas that you can run through. Now, once you get to the bottom here, you get to an elevator, and the elevator will take you to the next part.
Let me have a look at that console.
In order to get through the elevator, you will have to beat the shielded bosses and all of the enemies in the area before you can proceed to the next area. Now, the shielded bosses are immune. The only way to take their shield down is to grab the orb from the middle section and hit them with it. Once you hit them with it, they're vulnerable, and then you can take them out however you like. You'll move on, and then you'll have to do it again with multiple shielded bosses. And now the middle section is also dangerous, because the orbs will kill you if you touch them, and then the taken blights on the floor will damage you. So they up the ante quite a bit here in second section of the elevator. But otherwise, it is essentially the same. You grab an orb, take their shield down, and then take them out. Now what you can do is you can toss the orb in between fire team members. They don't even have to be looking at you. They throw it at you, you catch it, and then the orb gets stronger, so it is easier to take down the shield, and it can do a little bit of damage as well. Once you clear that out, you'll be able to go on to the next section, which of course is being guarded by a bunch of hive. Now, technically you can run through this section, but it would be very difficult to do with all of the shriekers. So if you're able to, you can run through the section. Otherwise, just take the guys out, or at least the shriekers in the area, and then you can move on. And there are several shriekers here. When they're closed, they're a little bit harder to see, but there are at least 3 in the section. Now once you take care of the Shriekers and or the ads, then you're clear to move on to this next section. And it seems fairly straightforward. Respawn restricted. An ogre shows up. Take out the ogre. Well, you also have a countdown on the left-hand side. Once it gets down to 0, you'll move to the ascendant realm, and then there'll be a taken ogre that you have to take down. So you have to take down both the ogre and the taken ogre, and you'll swap between the two realms via a timer. Once you get the timer down to 0, you'll switch. So take out the ogres as quickly as possible, and then you'll be locked into one realm. Now if you take out the taken ogre first, then you'll come back to this area, take down the ogre, and then you can just move on. If you take down the ogre first, then take down the taken ogre, then you'll have to go through a portal, and of course you'll have to worry about Shriekers in the ascendant realm. So if you take out the regular ogre first, then you'll have to go through the portal to come back to the regular realm here for the next section. And this section you can run through as well. There are a couple of snipers and some other guys that may cause trouble, but there's no Shriekers, so it should actually make it a little bit easier. There is a boss here, but you don't even have to take him out. You can just move on if you so desire. So once you get through this area, you're on to the falling area. You just run forward a little bit, and then there's a ledge, and doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on other than you see a whole bunch of obstacles and enemies that are below you. And what you'll want to do is try to navigate your fall where you can avoid the taken blights and fall somewhere in the middle, which will get you to the portal at the bottom of this section. If you do it right, you'll go through the portal and get to the next section. If not, you'll have to go to the top and do it again. If you die, if you get somewhere in between where you hit the platform but not the portal, it will try to push you off, and if you can jump back on and get through, you're good to go. Next section does have enemies, but you don't have to take them out. You can run through them if you want, although it does make it slightly more difficult. There's a bunch of floating platforms that you have to navigate to get to an area where there is a wanted enemy. Now, whether the wanted enemy gets you something or not, it's besides the point. You'll want to take out as many wanted enemies as you can. And this one isn't so high level that it should be difficult to do, even at a low 500 level. Now there are snipers in the back of the room and a couple of taken minotaurs in addition to the wanted enemy, which may make your life a little bit more difficult in this area, along with the taken thrall. So if you can take cover and make the jumps without having to deal with the snipers, then you can just move on. If you need to, you can take out the snipers. Now you can go on the outside path or the inside path here. Either way, doesn't really matter. And you'll move your way to the next section. And this is, again, another jumping area where you have to navigate floating platforms. There are a couple of platforms that do rotate, so do be aware of that. You'll notice because they do look a little bit different than all the rest. Now you can go to the right side or you can go to the left side. The left side has the orb, so I would shoot for the left side. Because once you get next to the orb, you'll spawn the bad guy. The Techian. Hit the Techian with the orb to lower the shield so you can do damage. There's going to be a whole bunch of taken scions in the area. You will need to do some ad control to make sure that your whole team doesn't get taken out. If you get taken out and wiped, it is respawn restricted, so you'll have to do this over again, although it is a checkpoint. So once you reach this encounter, then you will go right back to it if you do wipe. And of course, once you take the shield off, you'll have more spawns to deal with, and these will include taken knights. So slightly more difficult enemies in addition to the scions that you had previously. And at some point, depending on how much damage you can do all at once, you'll start having asteroids show up. So not only do you have to worry about the ads, but you'll also have to worry about asteroids coming by and just swiping you across the screen and taking you out. So however long it takes you to get the necessary amount of damage, the Techian will move on to the next area. So continue to do damage, take the shield down, do as much damage as you can, and then you'll have a portal show up in the back middle. Go through the portal, and now you're in the home stretch. There's some more floating platforms. There's going to be some more asteroids as well. There are several knights and snipers in the area. So you will want to take out the ads as you go along. And the Techian won't make your journey any easier. Techian will be in relative distance, or I should say striking distance. So every so often you may see a pot shot taken from the Techian in your general direction. Just keep moving forward. That'll push back the Techian to the final area. Now the Techian does have a combination where she will pop you up into the air, and if she is close by, she will blast you back. And since all of these floating platforms don't have handrails, she will push you out into space, and you'll have to do your best to stay on the platform. So the best thing to do is to keep at least somewhat of a distance away from the Techian. Once you have the shield down, you can do some damage. If you have a shotgun, you may want to be close, but not for too long. So again, take the shield down, do some damage. Once you do enough damage, then the shield will come back up, more than likely, unless you can do massive damage at the beginning. Once her shield comes back up, there will be a final orb in the middle of the arena. Grab the orb, take down her shield, and then take out the Techian, and you are done. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Where is Mara? Where is the Queen? I have seen the end. We will all fall.